Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video, and this is a paid request for Travis. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, reviews, re-reviews, random thoughts, streams, commentaries, video game playthroughs, tier lists, whatever the case may be, re-reviews, what have you, feel free to send it. PayPal is the best way to do it. Do have a Cash app as well. Links are down below in the info box, and I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. So thank you very much. So Travis had requested a film called Frenzy from 1972. And the thing about this film, it was one of the last films directed by Alfred Hitchcock. I think he only did one more film after this before he passed away. Now with Hitchcock, I liked a chunk of his movies. I really enjoy Rear Window. I really enjoy The Birds. Psycho, the first half I like more than the second half. The second half I could deal with, but I like the first half more. The film Rope, interesting gimmick and interesting experiment that I don't mind overall. Trying to make it all look like it was one continuous motion with how they tried to do it back in the day. Yeah, nowadays you see where it was cut, but it was an interesting experiment, like I said. Sabotage, I remember not minding. He had done a couple films where he was trying to go away from horror suspense and doing like espionage, spy films. They did one with Paul Newman called Torn Curtain, but they didn't really do much of anything, box office wise or anything. So Hitchcock felt he had to go back to the suspense route. And a good chunk of people did like this, other than Quentin Tarantino, but he's not a fan of Hitchcock in general. Granted, I like Tarantino, but I don't agree with him on that. I mean, he also said the 80s was one of the worst decades for movies. Again, I like Tarantino, and some of his opinions are interesting, but some of them I totally disagree. And although I will say he's not a fan of this film, and to be honest, I'm not as well. I guess that was all preamble to say I'm sadly sorry to Travis. I was not a fan of this movie. Again, I liked some of Hitchcock films. North by Northwest I liked, but I don't like Vertigo. Vertigo I always felt was overrated and didn't intrigue me. I didn't get invested with it. I thought it was a bit too long. This one, honestly, for me personally, it was just much ado about nothing. I think at this point, ironically enough, this is, I think, one of the only films that Hitchcock did that was rated R. Really just for some nudity. There were attempted R to the A to the P to the E, since you two don't like me saying that word and other people saying that word. About two, well, technically one attempts. But obviously it's 1972, so that don't show as well. It's not Last House on the Left, and that's it, you know. But it's not I Spit on Your Grave, far, far from it. So you don't have to worry about that, thankfully. But it's... The lead character was very unlikable. I didn't give a shit about him, so I didn't care to feel sorry for him. The guy who played the bad guy, I thought, acting-wise, he was a bit more interesting and filled with personality. Only he was the killer. And I'd probably say Barry... forget his name. Was it Barry Foster? His first name is Barry. I'm bad with names. He was, I thought, the best part of the movie. This inspector that I was pretty indifferent on. Overall, it just felt very familiar. And it felt like a number of years later, other people would do this kind of thing better. I felt like maybe at this point, for me personally, Hitchcock kind of lost his touch, and there were people hungry, ready to pick up that mantle. Richard Franklin, who would do Road Games, which I love Road Games. Road Games, to me, is such an underrated film with Stacy Teach, Jamie Lee Curtis. Road Games I mean, they're different plots, but as a suspense thriller, Road Games kicks the ever-loving fuck out of this movie. He also did Link, which, despite the fact that it's clearly an orangutan, but they say it's a chimpanzee, I like Link for what it is, despite its flaws. I will put that over this movie, at least in terms of entertainment. And Richard Franklin's done other stuff. May he rest in peace. Psycho 2. Also Brian De Palma. Carrie and Dress to Kill, Blowout, Scarface, The Untouchable, other genres, casualties of war. But those guys, I thought, took that mantle into the 70s and 80s and did it a much better job than what Hitchcock was doing in his last days. That's just, maybe it was just too old-fashioned, maybe he didn't quite know how to really push it like some directors did. Back to the day, he did for he was limited to, like Psycho. I mean, that was a time how dare you show a toilet, let alone a toilet flushing? How dare you? You're not supposed to show that. That's how strict they were back in the day. But the plot of the film, I should get into that, is John Finch is the lead. Now, John Finch, the way I know about him as an actor is he was the original guy that they cast for the John Hurt character in Alien. He was going to be the one, Kane, chestburster comes out, but he was like 3-4 days in. He had this bronchial attack. His health went to crap. He was out for a bit, and so he couldn't do it, so they had to recast it. Thus, John Hurt got the role. He did Shakespeare and other stuff, but I didn't see that, so again, that's the only way I know about John Finch. That and this. The Barry guy I was talking, Barry Foster, he plays Bob Rusk, a buddy of the leads who owns a shop of his own. It takes place in London, where there's a series of murders happening called the necktie murders, of course, because the bodies are found with a necktie wrapped around their neck. And they're being strangled. Our lead guy, he gets fired from the bar because the guy says, "You've been stealing booze." He's like, "No, I've been paying for it." There's a co-worker there where he's a little bit of, the hots for, and vice versa. Girl named Babs. But he gets fired. He goes to see his ex-wife. His ex-wife is in this matchmaking business. They go to have a dinner. They have an argument. They go their separate ways. Meanwhile, the buddy, Bob, goes to see that same lady, Brenda, the lead's ex-wife. And you find out that he was trying to get into matchmaking, but they told him no because of his tendencies. You kind of find out because of his S&M type of tendencies. So he tries to assault, rips her clothes off, but then eventually strangles her with a tie. And because the secretary had saw the other guy leave, and not Bob, she tells the cops, "Oh, last person I saw was her ex-husband." So the lead is accused of those crimes, gets help from his former co-worker Babs, and it goes on from there. But it's not a taut, tightly paced, suspenseful film. It's not like the lead character has to be on guard, looking over his shoulder all the time. I mean, we don't even get his reaction to finding out that his ex-wife died. Him and the girl Babs went to a hotel to fuck. All newspapers slipped under their door, because I guess that's a common courtesy in 1972 in London. When the cops, they hear from someone, "Oh, they may be up there," they're gone, and then the guy's explaining to Babs, "Oh, I didn't do it." Then they find, or she finds this guy that brings them in and stays there, and the guy's wife ain't happy about it, but the guy's like, you can stay here for a bit. And then Babs goes to get some clothes, but then there's Bob, and hey, you can come with me for a bit. She trusts him, but that's the big mistake. But yeah, I don't feel this like tightly. The screws are being like a vice tightened around the lead character. He's getting more nervous. He's getting more out of it. He's like, the walls are closing in on me. I didn't feel that for the lead character. And when I said he was unlikable, I mean from the very beginning, he's this drunk louse. He's this guy who blames the world for his problems. I did. You don't want a guy saying you're stealing stuff when you're not, but he handles it. "No, I ain't doing it." He's drinking on the job still as a bartender. You're not supposed to do that. Okay, he pays for it, but you're not supposed to do that. Then he's yelling at the boss. And part of me's like, I mean, the guy may be wrong, but part of me's like, if this is his behavior, I don't blame him for firing the guy. He's acting like a fucking dick. When he's with the ex-wife, he acts like a dick. When they go out and have dinner, he's acting like a dick. Yeah, if you can't make love, you sell it, right? And blah, 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 right in the middle of the restaurant, and then he breaks the glass accidentally. Now, granted, he does apologize, but it's like, why am I supposed to give a fuck about this guy? And it's just John Finch, the way he plays the character and the personality showcases of that character. I'm like, I don't give a fuck what happens to this person. He's not a person I care to follow. He's not a person I care to root for. I don't give a fuck if he gets caught or not. If he's innocent or not. I don't care. So to me, the lead guy, he was not a guy I really gave a shit to root for. That's number one. The Hitchcock, like the direction, like camera work wise, the only camera work that really got, because I think of other films, even Psycho, where there's certain camera shots that really invoke something. The only one that I remember is when Bob asks Babs, hey, come to my apartment. When he closes the door, the camera pulls away, goes all the way back down the stairs, goes outside, and then we're outside the building. It's all in one shot as you see people just walking by. That's the only shot I could think of that stood out to me. The other shots, honestly, you could have told me this was directed by anybody else and I would have believed it. And I wouldn't have gone, that's a Hitchcock movie. At least that's just my opinion. Some of the, I don't want to say logic, but some of the behavior, like the coworker Babs, she believes him because she's in love with him, but then when another person says, well, he could do it, he could have done it, the coworker Babs goes, but they're divorced, there's no call for him to do it. And I'm sitting there going, you're saying that if two people are divorced, there's no way one is going to kill the other? Man, I guess 1972 was much more innocent than fucking now, or even 20 years ago. A guy gets, or someone gets divorced from another, yeah, maybe you would kill because they're pissed off they got divorced in the first place. Or wanted her back, or wanted them back, or... I just thought it was funny. They're divorced. He has no reason to kill her. I'm like, for some people, that would be the reason they would do it. It's a very different time. There's no big murders. I mean, the big murder set piece is when he murders Bob murders the girl. And it just kind of there. I mean, it's just, I don't know how to describe it. He slams her down, ripping the clothes. You see a little bit of titties. He backs off, puts the tie, some up close shots of the hands on the tie, up close shots for her eyes. Baby from 1972, this was more, oh shit. It's just when you look back nowadays, you throw a rock at. I mean, that's not fair to say. I was going to say throw a rock at a slasher film, but that's years later for a lot of them, and that's not probably fair to compare. It's just, as a first timer watch, there's, again, nothing screamed Hitchcockian to me about it. At least for me personally. Or the leftovers of Hitchcockian, the past of Hitchcock. And to be honest, I mean, one thing I will give it credit is that there are some kind of fun attempts at dark humor. At the very beginning, when it shows London and it shows this crowd outside, they see a dead body, and they're talking about what. Oh, is it gonna be like Jack the Ripper? Oh no no, he cut up people. Oh, the lady doesn't want to hear it. Well, I'm just saying, maybe he took her spleen or something. And then one guy goes, "Whoa, that's not my tie, is it?" Or that looks like a tie I would have. Or like the last shot has a bit of attempted humor. The last scene. There's this running gag where the inspector's wife keeps cooking him this food that tastes like shit. He's trying to be so avant-garde, maitre d' on the food. You can tell the guy just doesn't like it at all. But he's trying to be nice to his wife. There's a bit where this side quest in a way where when he's killed the second person, Babs, we don't see it for the most part. We just see that he puts the body in this potato sack. He realizes, oh, during the attack, she might have gotten one of these like tie pins. So he has to hurry, get to the body, and find the evidence that would showcase he had done it. So by doing so, he is getting the body, and the dead body's foot's kind of kicking him in the face accidentally. So, some of the humor was kind of little bits here and there, kind of, darkly comedic, which, is a thing or two from some Hitchcock stuff. But then pretty much the lead guy finds out that Babs has been killed as well because her body's been found. He goes to his buddy Bob, not knowing he's the killer. Bob, of course, turns him into the cops. The lead guy sees that his bag is filled with stuff that wasn't there. He was set up so he knows the guy Bob, his buddy Bob did it. He gets put to jail. He's found guilty. The inspector, just because the guy says, Bob did it, Bob did it, he's like, He investigates. And the investigation isn't much. It's not that in depth. It's not that invigorating, intriguing to see, what clues is he going to find. He just asks the one Brenda girl secretary, have you had any other weird people? And she says, yeah. And she explains it. And then when he's having dinner with his wife, and he just explains all this shit. The phrase show don't tell? Here, he just tells everything. Well, there's this and there's that and the body and there was, I want to get someone there to see if they saw this guy there, and well, the corpse, he must have gone back to look at the corpse because the corpse doesn't rip open the potato sacks on their own, and then her hand was messed up, so maybe she was holding something. What could she have been holding? Was it a cross? Was it this? It's just explaining all this stuff, and I'm like, that's not really that exciting. Just a guy taught for 5 minutes. Granted, kind of like Psycho, where they explain everything at the end of the film, but there's a little bit more going on in that movie, at least to me. So one of his buddies, cop buddies, comes by. Oh yeah, apparently they did see him, and he was dusty, and here's a brush he used, and they smell it, and it smells like potato dust. Meanwhile, the lead guy, he gets himself hurt to go to a hospital. He escapes to Bob's apartment to find a dead body there. The inspector's there as well. Before they can really have much of a conversation, Bob comes in with a trunk. "Oh, sir, you seem to have lost your tie." And Bob doesn't really know what to say, so he drops the trunk, and then the movie's over. I'm like, okay. I get what they were going for that ending, but because I gave little shits, I mean, I just didn't feel there's even like North by Northwest. You know, there's the Great Plains sequence, among other bits, and the Mount Rushmore stuff at the end, and Psycho. You have the shower scene. You have the staircase, and the guys flying back. Like, you have these big moments. I didn't feel there were any, even the strangling bit, there were no big moments in this movie that I could really go, yeah, that scene really sticks out. I didn't see any of that. And I thought, for the most part, the characters were kind of there. Again, the guy who played the killer, I thought was fine. For some reason, he did remind me of someone that was a Doctor Who guy. I don't know who. But I'm like, is that one of the Doctor Who guys? But I mean, I don't think so, no. I kept thinking he was like one of the Doctor... I don't know why. But the lead guy was unlikable. I didn't give a shit about him. He didn't really drive the plot because he wasn't looking into who the killer was. He wasn't investigating who killed his ex-wife. I mean, hell, if I want to see that, I'll see Deep Red. Like, Deep Red with Dario Argento, where it's a guy involved with this murder mystery and try to figure out what's going on. Like, that was a 70s film, and that really sticks out compared to this. Like, Deep Red, this. Maybe Hitchcock was just too old for this. Maybe just too old-fashioned for this. Maybe just too out the pasture for this. Again, the ending just kind of... The finale, I should say. The finale just kind of fell flat. The investigator felt like he didn't do much investigating. The lead guy felt like he didn't do much of shit. And then the bad guy got caught because he's a fucking idiot. I mean, I don't know. It just was kind of reaction to it. So that's just my take on it. Not a bad score, musical score. Again, there's a few little bits of dark humor. It was kind of funny, like the dead body's foot that keeps accidentally hitting the bad guy's face when he's in the truck and is bumping along. He's trying to get the evidence. But I really do think not having a strong lead character really hurt this film, at least for me. And not having any big, 2 or 3 standout moments, that really hurt it too. Again, at least for me. But that's my opinion. Thanks for watching. Take care, and we will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye for now.